Welcome back to Fred Talk. I am your host, Freddie Valoy. Today we have an episode. That's what I'm gonna say. We got it's an episode. All right. All right. So we're gonna cover relationship stuff. This is from an account called Tinder Platinum. Right. If you've been on my Patreon, you know that I was in a war of wits with Tinder Platinum, unbeknownst to him. Right. He didn't even know. I would cover his content with the intent to break it down because I thought I was coming off real like fuckboy douchebaggy. And a lot of times by the end of it, I was on his side. so uh but check that out on my Patreon. And ever since then, I even called him out for wearing his sunglasses on when he goes on and he does camera facing advice and stuff. He would always wear sunglasses. I don't trust dudes that broadcast with sunglasses constantly. And if you're always wearing sunglasses, it's weird for everybody. And then when they take off it's always a letdown. The guy that always has his shades on, whenever he finally takes his sunglasses off, eventually, it's always a letdown. He's not hiding some crazy eyes. It's usually some dude with beady ass brown eyes that may be low confidence and can't make eye contact. Honestly, dude, I'm not even judging you. If you got low self-esteem, you can't make eye contact, go ahead and pop some glasses on, dude. At least you'll look cool with low confidence, So I'm not even going to hate on that. But ever since I called out Tinder Platinum for wearing the sunglasses, he don't wear them anymore. And actually, he once again, Tinder Platinum. God damn it, dude. This guy, he's setting up traps along the way. He has beautiful like hazel eyes. And then they're not beady whatsoever. And his content has gotten better, a little more balanced. So I do like it. Before we get there, sign up to my Patreon, y'all. You're definitely going to want to check in this month. Because as you know, some of the episodes I've been covering my dating life, what I've learned, blah, blah, blah. Well, recently, there's been some good shit happening and then some interesting thing. I'm not going to say bad. I'm going to say interesting, but it will have to do with the rise and fall of the honeymoon phase. So I'm going to talk about my experience with that. And when I say fall, I mean, it's in quotes, right? But, this month, one of those episodes is going to cover that. Because it's funny and it's fun. And of course, with respect to the other person involved, the other party involved. So we're going to get started with Tinder Platinum on social media. Not social media. That's some old nigga shit. You heard that? Just follow him on the social medias. All right. Tinder Platinum. This is on his IG account at Tinder Platinum. And he covers, here are my 10 favorite open-ended questions that I ask on a first date to build attraction. So if you're a fella, I would keep this in there. And I feel like if you're a lady, I feel like I like following accounts of things that I don't like. Like I follow Republican accounts, Democrat accounts. I follow, like just to see what those people are taking in. Like if you subscribe to, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican. I want to see what news you're taking in. And so I guess if I was a girl, I'd want to know what are guys taking in to try to learn to be better at being men or trying to date, right? You can probably already listen to FredTalk for that reason. So 10 favorite open-ended questions. I say we all play along and let's all answer these questions, right? I'm going to answer them. Obviously, I have a microphone, so I'm going to do that, but answer these in your head. Get the thoughts flowing. Question number 1 from Tinder Platinum. What's a hobby you've always wanted to try, but haven't had the chance to yet? This is a great question. This is better than the question I ask is, do you have any hobbies? Because that tells me quite a bit, right? It tells me more what type of hobbies you're into than whether or not you have a hobby or not. Because maybe when you don't have a hobby, you're just looking for it, whatever. But I think this can tell you a lot. And the way this question is worded is much better than a straight up, do you have a hobby? Because especially at a certain age, not having a hobby can make people feel self-conscious. Like, oh, I don't have anything fun. I was talking to a finance guy. This guy was in Central Park talking to a finance guy. This guy lives across the street from Central Park, has all the money in the world. And he was asking me what I'm doing. I'm literally an open mic comedian. I'm not making money off of comedy right now. I'm not, whatever. But I just tell him I come to the city every night. I go do some comedy, watch some shows, meet some friends. And he was like, man, that sounds like so much fun. That sounds so. I'm like, what do you do? He's like, I'm in finance. He's like, it's not as fun as what you do, and I got to try to make it better and shit. I'm like, oh well, money's fun, right? For him, it should be. He's in the fucking thing. He just kind of rolls his eyes, and that's the response I get from most finance guys. So if you have a hobby, that's a flex. If you have a hobby, I'm gonna say that's a night. That's the equivalent of a luxury car these days. If you're trying to look for a peaceful lifestyle, right? Peaceful lifestyle, live the way of the water. I don't know what that means, but you know what I'm trying to say when I say that shit. Having a hobby, I think, is an indirect way. It will improve your quality of life. And I've talked about this on this podcast before, 3 years ago, when I got into longboarding, so 4 years ago, something like that. It affects your quality of life. It's an outlet for creativity. And if you are inherently a creative person and you're not creating, you're feeling inside. You're gonna be feeling like you're dying inside. And there's different ways to express. A lot of people think it's more traditional, like, oh, I got to paint, I got to draw, I got this. Yes, of course you can do that. But there are other things you can do, like hopping on some roller skates, hopping on some rollerblades, hopping on a bike. Those are other ways of expression, of free expression, right? And the way you word this is a lot better. What's a hobby you've always wanted to try, but haven't had the chance to yet? Because most people are probably in that camp. So that's a very good way to word this question. I'm all good on hobbies right now. I got what I got. I do long walks. I skateboard, and then I'm trying to turn one hobby into a business here over the next couple of years. So this is good. I will say I have like things in the future I want to do. Always making grand plans. ENTP baby, this is what we do. We're either going to be homeless or president, and I feel like I felt like that a lot. They talk about that personality type, ENTP, extroverted, intuitive thinking, perceiving, that we either feel like we're going to be homeless or president of the United States. And that is a very, very real feeling. But anyway, in my 40s, I would love to get my pilot's license. Not a helicopter, but just like a plane. I want to fly like a small plane. Like I want to be able to like lease a plane, not buy one, lease one, and then like, you fly to Boston or something. I live in New York now, so like fly to Baltimore. That's what I'm trying to do, is fly like a small plane. Maybe run some drugs on the side just to get back in touch with my roots. You know what I'm saying? Not on some OD shit like my biological father, right? I'm not trying to run. I'm not trying to be a kingpin in itself, but I could be the middleman, right? Right? Like I'd be taking this flight from Bolivia to Panama anyway, right? Because it's one of the most beautiful places to fly a plane over. Why don't I just have a couple keys on me, right? Make a couple extra bucks, really, really knock off the last few cents of this student loan, you know? All right, moving on. So I hope you answered the question. What's a hobby you've always wanted to try, but you haven't had the chance to yet? If you've been itching to do a hobby, now's a good time to set this goal. This is a good summer goal. Figure out a hobby. All right. All right. Next question for open ended questions to build attraction. What's a memorable moment from your childhood that has stayed with you until now? I've always seen this question for these types of accounts. They're like, here's questions you could ask on a date to build attraction or whatever. And I really like this one, but I always forget to ask it. What is a memorable moment from your childhood that has stayed with you until now? Here's one of the earliest ones. One time this kid, he was younger than me. I was probably 9 or 10, and this kid was like 5 or 6 or something like that. He goes, "Hey, can you tie my shoe?" And I was like, I had just learned how to tie a shoe, dog. I was hyped. I was like, remember that feeling when you first learned how to tie your shoe? What that felt like? You felt like a goddamn evil genius. You're like, I can do anything. I learned the 2 bunny ears and then tied it, and I did that for a long time. And then the loop, swoop, and pull, I do a double loop and then pull. People complain about it all the time, but I'm just that nigga. You know what I'm saying? I just do shit differently. I even tie my shoe differently. You do one swoop, I do two, because I'm extra like that. All right. So this little kid, this little fucking 6-year-old asked me to tie his shoe. And when I bend down to tie his shoe, he fucking kicks me in the mouth with his other foot. What? I was like, ooh. And it was like, I had to cover my mouth. I was like, oh, and I think I started crying too. I was a big fucking crybaby as a kid. That is the most memorable thing from my childhood. Well, then there's other things like my biological father beating the shit out of my mother and stuff like that. But we're not going to talk about that, right? Well, I guess we just did. Yes, there was. I would say the domestic violence is probably that was the theme of the childhood. My mom didn't abuse me; she disciplined me physically, but it was never like, oh my god, Um, but my dad hurting my mother, definitely remember that. So I guess it's violence all around, all the way. Everyone from the 6-year-old to my biological 5, I've just been surrounded by violence. I wonder what that fucking 6-year-old is doing now. I hope he's still 6. That's what I hope. I hope he was cursed from being such a piece of shit that he's still fucking 6 years old, but his brain keeps growing as an adult and he's trapped in an ever living hell where people don't respect him because he's a 6-year-old. That's what I hope happens to that fuck. His name was Joel. What kind of fucking name is Joel? Moving on. What's a goal you're currently working towards? And what steps are you taking to achieve it? God, that follow-up at the end there. What steps are you taking to achieve it? Because right now, I just told you I wanted to get my pilot's license in my 40s. I'm not taking any steps to achieve that. That's wishful thinking. I have a bigger goal right now that I'm about to answer. I got to do that before I jump into the extra shit about, trying to fucking fly a plane. What's a goal you're currently working towards, and what steps are you taking to achieve it? Listener, answer these questions with me, bro. I don't want to be the only person. This episode should get you thinking. For me, it is to turn. I mentioned earlier, it's to turn this whole comedy shit into a business, a viable business where I'm working for myself. I got a small team, a couple video editors, and we tour the country doing some clubs. I don't really care about doing theaters. Would like to make a lot of money through social media and comedy, just that whole thing. All, from the internet, tour my dates, tour like 2 weekends a month is what I want to do. I know a lot of stand-ups are like, you want to be on the road every fucking weekend. I don't know if that's for me. I want to do a lot of stand-up. I live in New York, so I can get the reps in here, travel, go on the road, 2 weekends a month, and then spend the other 2 weekends for like relationships. And if I have a family or whatever, that's my goal. And what am the steps I'm doing to achieve that is at least 5 nights a week. I am in the city every night doing comedy, meeting people. I'm out there taking actual items, steps to get closer to that goal. That's a good follow-up, right? So if you have a goal, what steps are you taking to achieve those goals right now? If you're like, I ain't taking no steps, now you at least got to take the first step. So moving on, what's a place you've traveled to that has had a profound impact on you, and why did it impact you so much? This is good. I like this question because I just burped. If you saw it on video, you saw me just blow a burp out. If you're on audio, you just saw a pause. What's a place you've traveled to that has had a profound impact on you, and why did it impact you so much? For me, it was recently in February. I went to was it February? No, it was in January when I went. Yeah, I went to Baltimore to visit a friend of mine. So if you go back a few episodes, it was a 10-minute episode where I just talk about my buddy Christian. Christian Castro has been on the episode twice. He did a really good episode on sexual reimagination. He just got out of a long-term relationship and wanted to like figure out sex, like how to connect, how to be a good lover. And he walks us through that whole journey. On one of it's Christian Castro, sexual reimagination. It's a great fucking episode. So he was diagnosed with a grade 4 glioblastoma. Pretty much means he has less than 1% chance of surviving. I did an episode on that not too like about last year sometime. Well, recently he has passed away. He passed away April 8th. And he was one of my best friends. Like there's not many dudes that I look up to like on a big brother level, because there ain't that many dudes out there like that. No, that's sad. Actually, it's true and it's sad. But I'm being funny. But it's true and it's sad. I sat with him. And I feel like he knew that maybe that was the last time I was going to be able to see him in that light where he still had all his faculties and most of his energy with him and all that. And he like wept and cried and just expressed his love for me, like as a friend and as a brother. And this was all in Baltimore, by the way. This is the place I traveled to, but this is the experience. It was a fucking like, talk about, I don't know. It's like, it was like a philosophical lesson for me on just life, death, and love at the end of the day. And he wept and just expressed so much. Like, he couldn't get through it. And he told me, he's like, I'm going to ugly cry. I'm going to, he paused for a second and would go back into crying. And then he really started crying when he just was so thankful for like our friendship and the love there. And then his, his wife now, and he was just talking about how she had shown him what true love actually felt like. And when he said that, I felt it. And that shit, that moment right there, when he was like, he experienced, like, it was like a transcendental love. And that shit fucking changed me. And it came at the right time because I was only 2 months or so, a month or so being single. I was literally on my way up um from North Carolina to New York. I stopped off in Baltimore to hang out with him because he was running on minimal time. Right. He got diagnosed and then 14 months later he was dead or passed away. That's a little soft way to say it. We filmed some content for his daughter, which was really cool, like life lessons. And I just got to ask him questions, so stuff on like finance, dating, real fun stuff. But that I traveled to Baltimore for that. And my goal is to travel to Baltimore once a year, just like in his honor. He was like Mr. Baltimore, Fells Point. He had hundreds of people at his memorial. It was a sight to see. And that was the first memorial I ever went to. I usually skip stuff like that. Just out of like, I think maybe just immaturity. And this year, and I was gonna back out last minute, and I just said, fuck it, just bought the train ticket. And I'm so glad I did because I was able to like mourn that friendship. And actually talking about it like this, and remembering that moment, it was a big life experience for me watching that and hearing him express his love for his friend and then also for his wife, and just how he found true love and what that felt like. And I was like, I felt it here. I fucking felt it. And I was like, I know what I'm looking for. It helped me push me closer to where I know where I'm looking for. Look for inspiration in weird places, y'all. So Baltimore's that city. Baltimore's fucking awesome. Great city. Yeah, it could be dangerous, but you stay out of certain parts and you'll be fine. Don't listen to Fox News. It's a cool city. Under Armour's got them in a chokehold, and it's great. Next question. What's a dream you've had that you're afraid to pursue, and what's holding you back from pursuing it? I guess, I ain't trying to flex right now, but I'm doing it right now. This is the whole comedy thing. This is a dream, a recent dream, because I didn't know. I thought I was going to be a businessman up until like 29, 30 years old. You hit corporate goals and then you're like, I feel empty inside. A dream now is just, blow this comedy shit up. I want to be an eccentric millionaire type, where I just like where I meet somebody at the bar and they're like, oh man, these student loans, they got me stressed out, man. They got me stressed out, these student loans. Or like they're complaining, my mother's sick, she just got diagnosed with cancer. And I could just like hit him off and like pay, like give him 100,000 and then it doesn't affect me. That's what I would use money for if I was rich. Who knows if I'm ever going to be rich? As long as I have enough money to live my life, like I'm good right now, which is great. But what's a dream you've had that you're afraid to pursue, and what's holding you back from pursuing it? I don't have an answer for this, but what's your answer? In the meantime, I'm going to apologize for sounding stuffy right now. I think finally allergies have gotten the best of me at 37, and that's okay. I don't like to admit that I have allergies because I think allergies are for weak people. I like to look at myself as an evolved being, and I didn't think fucking flower cum would make me feel like this, but that's why I sound like this. We're gonna move on to the next question. What's a book or movie that has influenced your life or worldview, and how did it do it so? A book or movie. The last self-help book I ever read that I'll ever need to read was The Art of Impossible. It's a great book. It has actionable items for you to go through and follow. It's one of those things where if you read the book and you follow the tenets, it works. Because one thing with reading self-help books is you can fall into that trap where you're just constantly reading a self-help book looking for the magic bullet, guilty, and you don't find it and you get frustrated and you're wondering, what am I doing? And you're reading a self-help book when you should be out working and building something. I fell into that trap myself. a movie that has influenced your life. I'm just gonna say anime for me. And I no longer need to read self-help books because I get all my, not all of it, but there's a lot of philosophical nuggets in anime, a lot of Eastern philosophy hiding behind awesome fight scenes and great storylines and amazing character development and subversive plot lines and all that. So it keeps me locked in. If you got my attention, you got me, right? And it's hard to get my attention. That's not super hard. I meditate like every day now and shit. So, but yeah, I would say anime has affected my life the most. The last fitness kick I got on was 2 years ago. I just started watching anime again because I've been on and off, and I'm watching this kid. It's the beginning of the series, and he's going for his goals, and he's like, "How do we achieve our goals?" He's like, "You just go after it little by little," something like that. I didn't do it any justice there. And at one point, it was a Tuesday. I was taking a long lunch. I was feeling lazy. I had just overeaten. I think I was like high, a 2, and I was over. I had more weight on me than I was comfortable having. And when I saw this fucking kid, this cartoon kid, anime kid, going for his goals, it made me go, Freddie, what the fuck are you doing? This child is over here getting after it. You're gonna let this child be better than you? And that's what made me go on my recent, like the last 2, 3, I guess it's 3 years now, damn, where I was just on my shit. And anime for me is that thing. I have a hyperactive imagination. I'm a weird ass nigga too. Like I in my heart and soul, I think I'm a ninja deep down. So when I don't want to do something that I know I should be doing, I ask myself, like, are you really being a ninja right now, my nigga? Huh? Are you being a ninja, or you being a little bitch ass nigga? There's 2 things you could be. So and when I talk to myself like that, it makes me laugh at myself, and it makes me do it because I want to be a ninja. And I'm dead serious in this thought process. I'm not even trying to be funny. So what's a book or movie that has influenced your life or worldview? All right, moving on. What's a place that feels like home to you, and why does it feel that way? Oh God. So I didn't read these. I read like the first 3. If the first 3 my brain starts going, then I don't read them because I want to just be on the spot. There's something. It breathes life into me. What's a place that feels like home to you, and why does it feel that way? Dude, I can't. What I wish I could talk to the listeners right now. What's that for you, huh? What's a place that feels like home? For me, it's pussy, baby. You know what I'm saying? Because reminds me of coming out my mom's womb. Ew, nigga. No. What's a place that feels like home? Saunas kind of cold water makes me like, oh, fuck. I don't know why. Let me think. Let me hold up. Feels like home, and why does it feel that way? Yo, when I'm longboarding, there's a sense of freedom. I'm talking about. I feel like there's a thread of the universe going through me when I'm longboarding, and that's actually my sincere answer. And a little pussy on the side. You feel me? No, I'm just kidding. Oh gosh, yo, I was speaking of pussy. I was I don't know. I was talking, dudes. I'll do anything for my family. I was talking to this guy. I'm like, he's like, I'll do anything for my family. I'll do anything for my family. And I'm like, hey, why don't you stop cheating on your wife? And he's like, oh, ooh, yeah, I can't do that, Jack. Can't they can't? They'll do anything for the family, but they won't stop cheating, right? Isn't that crazy? Isn't that wild? They'll tell you, I'll die for my family. But I ain't gonna stop getting this little pussy on the side. All right. I need this. Some men will even tell you that cheating makes them a better husband. I would love to have that type of person on the podcast. Just ask questions. We'll make it anonymous. We'll have fun. All right. My throat's getting dry. Let's see. Oh, that's it. We're done. We just covered all of them. We did about 25 minutes, 23 minutes. I fulfilled my 20-minute obligation to this. Sign up to the Patreon, $5 a month. My birthday just passed. Do it as a birthday gift. Sign up for a year. Sign up and download all the content and then unsign up, right? Do that. I like a little jukes every now and then, baby. I like me a little criminality. Light criminality every now and then, right? And If you do download them, bootleg the Fred Talks and distribute them on your own, baby. Bootleg my shit. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with pirating my shit, bro. I'm just trying to get it out to the people. And if you're putting in that much work to try to fuck me over, I respect you. Bye.